Hello. Um, this is a 3D assembly square from Freebird Interiors. There's their logo. Based up in Sheffield. Now, Alastair from Freebird Interiors is a good friend of mine, and a couple of years ago gave me this to try. We worked together on a few projects, and it's a jig basically that you when you're putting together bookcases, wardrobes, any kind of anything where you need to clamp to a right angle, you use this. The good thing about it, the reason it's called a 3D assembly square, is because it holds it in three different dimensions. So obviously you've got the right angle, so you clamp to there, it holds it that way. It also will hold your work square that way and this way. So if I, this is the kind of prototype one, hence it's a little rough. It's got these little holes here. Now that's for clamping, so they use these style clamps, although you can clamp over the top with a different kind of clamp. They slot in there, clamps your workpiece there. Show a couple of features before I show how it's used. Now they're now come in three different sizes, and that might have changed since, but we go check out their website. But yeah, they've got three different sizes. This is the small one, which I would recommend getting. I used this for some drawer boxes recently that I had to resize on site, and it's very, very handy. This is the mid-size one, which they used to be the only one they used to do. It's about 200 mil, that I think, and that's a good all-round one. And then this is you've got your bigger one here, which is probably for bigger units, which is probably what I'm about to use now. So what you do, get your two pieces. Now I'm making a cabinet here. This is the side. This is the base. So you take your square, line that up here. Now you see this point, this mark here. Flush that up to your edge, and it becomes more obvious when you see its other uses. Flush that up there. Now, obviously, if you've got quicker clamps, so they're ratchet ones that goes together a little quicker. And then now I've flushed that up there, and then that clamps in like that. Look, if you're doing the corners, you do need to give it a little bit of adjustment to line your edges up. But essentially, it means you can put big units together on your own. So that's holding that square. I'll move the camera a little bit. That's holding that square here. So you've got the right angle there, but it's also holding it this way. So that's not moving in. And that is particularly useful if you're putting a run of shelves. Um, you can basically just make your mark, slide this along, clamp that in place. So that's held in place. And then you just put your shelves in as you go. But so that's ready, that's held, and then now obviously you can pocket hold that, fix it together. I will probably take this apart, glue it and pin it. Yeah, I'll glue and pin this. But that's held now. It's just that's a good dry fit. I'll show you a couple of features of the jig itself. I move this out of the way. The reason why it's so good is, like I said, so we've got the clamp holes here. If you look from the top, this section here, so this circle here, you can just see what would be the interior kind of corner of your work. So that circle lets you see that to make sure you've lined that up correctly and everything's tight. If you line up this edge, this piece here is in line with this. So if you are putting a bookcase together, if I can get through scrap. So essentially, if you're putting a bookcase together and you know you want your you want your shelf to go there where I've marked, get this on there. You just slide it up until you hit your mark, clamp that off, and then you know that's going to be in line. You know it's going to be square. Similarly, and it's on the other side as well. So if you're running it that way, you can also do that. So yeah, they come flat pack as far as I'm aware. So there is some assembly, but it's very nicely machined, and now it comes in this. I don't know what this is. It's some kind of laminate or melamine faced. I think they use Finza board. It's very attractive. But I would recommend, if you're buying it off my recommendation alone, I would recommend starting out with this small one, because it's the problem I've had with, particularly with the bigger one, is that they're really good for using on site, but the bigger ones, I worry I'm gonna dink it when I'm chucking it in the van. They're quite hard to store, so I tend to use the bigger one, leave the big one in the workshop. But this little one will fit inside a sustainer, or it's just a very handy little size, and it's all the cheapest kind of entry level one. But this will do most things. You could do a bigger unit like I've got here, using the small one. You just might need to kind of tease the bottom in there. But like I said, this is perfect for drawer boxes, and also you can also use it if you're working upright as well. So if you've got your, I don't know why I'm moving the camera for this, but so if this were mounted on the wall, you can just basically essentially clamp this to your upright and sit your shelf on it. And it's very, very good for when you don't have an extra person with you. And I suppose if you wanted to be fancy, you could get a couple of these and have them in one on either side, run them in parallel. But yes, well worth investment. And so he is a friend of mine. So I did have a chance to have a play with this without any money changing hands to start with. But these two I have since bought off him. So I do recommend it. It's well worth it. If you do a lot of kind of fitted wardrobes, bookcases, things like that, and particularly if you want to do a good dry fit, it's well worth doing. Well worth getting hold of one of these. So that's Freebird Interiors, based in Sheffield. I'll put a link to the product in the description of this video. Just to add on, something I forgot to mention first time round. This bit here, this edge here, you see that bit I'm pointing to with my nail there, that is actually 9mm out from the from this edge. So if you flush your edge up and if you're working off a center, like my point there, that that's what that is for. So that's another line, another marker for you. So you got this edge lines up with the edge of the board, and this little dink in here lines up with the center of an 18mm board. It's a very handy little feature. Well done, Alastair.